I'll say you can ignore me. So keep going.
Come on, girl, do this show. Let's do it.
Good morning, everybody. Welcome to Wake Up Happy Sis. It's your girl, Leanne Dulce. We are here on KCCR, the Brownstone, where we are changing the narrative for our Black and Brown people by telling our stories our way. We got your girl Paulette in the studio with me today.
Good morning.
Good morning. For those who don't know, I don't know how you could not know, Paulette here is the founder of Brownstone Worldwide. She is the reason why I am here today talking to you. So, Paulette, before we start, tell the people a little bit about yourself. If they're new here and they don't know anything about you and about Brownstone Worldwide, give them a quick little second about you.
I surely will. So you are currently watching or listening to Wake Up Happy Sis on Brownstone Worldwide. And I know that, Leanne, you also have it on other platforms as well, which I think is cool. But I'm honored to have you on Brownstone Worldwide. We are a media company that focuses on Black and Brown individuals and helping to change the narrative of how we tell our stories our way. And so what we do here is we have brownstoneworldwide.com, where we have content and news that we put together throughout the day. We also have lifestyle, sports, we have politics, money, all of the things. And then, of course, we have the KCCR, the app, which is the podcasting streaming app. And we have air personalities with shows. Today is usually our busiest day. And it's all talk up until about 6:30 in the evening. And then it goes right into some amazing sounds that you remember from today and yesterday. Then, of course, we have Brownstone Living Magazine as well. So it's a monthly magazine that comes out. And, of course, we would love for you guys to go over to the Facebook page and like the page so you can find out how you can stay connected with us. There you go.
Yes, and you can get a subscription to
Yes.
that magazine. It's only $5.99 an issue.
Yep.
You can also get a subscription by monthly, so you ain't even got to worry about that. It'll just be in your inbox.
That's
So
right.
head on over to brownstoneworldwide.com and go and get that.
Yep.
Go and get that. So today we're talking about spirituality and self-care. And I know some of you guys might be thinking, okay, what's that connection? But there are what's called 8 dimensions of self-care and wellness. Your spirituality, your spiritual home, your spiritual center within yourself is one of those dimensions. So spirituality is such a deep and personal kind of thing for everybody to experience. It might be that you go to church to practice spirituality. You might meditate. You might actually just reflect. There are so many ways to practice and to be spiritual. I don't want people to get into the habit of thinking, oh, I don't go to church, so I can't be spiritual.
Yeah.
Farther from the truth. There are plenty of people
Right.
who don't feel that church is the right place for them, and that is their choice. But you also have a big contingent. We know how big the church is, right?
Yeah.
Especially Black community. Spirituality is usually very much linked to the church in the Black community, in African communities as well. And, they're very religious. My ex-husband is Haitian, and Haitian culture is very religious. They are very much linked there.
Okay.
So this episode, we're going to be talking about why spirituality is important as a part of your self-care, your overall self-care and wellness. Because what we're trying to do here on Wake Up Happy Sis is to give you the tips, the tools, and the techniques to help you do what? Wake up happy every day.
Wake up happy.
And it doesn't mean, I say this on most of the episode, it doesn't mean that you're happy all the time.
Yeah.
Things happen in life. But what it means is that you have a way to get back to being happy. That is the most important thing, is we want you to feel those feelings. We're giving you the tools so that you can know how to feel those feelings process those feelings, and then figure out how you can get back to being happy, healed, and whole, so that you
Mhm.
can live your best life. That's the whole, that look. That's my
Definitely.
goal in life, to live my best life ever been.
Yes, absolutely, absolutely. Yeah, I love that.
So,
Okay.
Paul, tell me, what is your take on spirituality? How do you practice spirituality, or how does it manifest in your life?
Um, every day, every single day, it is manifested. I practice spirituality every day. I do not attribute to being a Christian or Muslim or any of those things. I have removed myself purposely from that because I felt restricted and judged for the things that I knew intuitively. And so I made a decision to trek out on my own and learn as much as I could in terms of the metaphysical world. Um, and that's kind of what led me to where I currently am when it comes to spirituality. So I wake up in the morning, and before I go to bed at night, there are certain things that I do and I practice. Um, and it would probably scare some people, but I listen to my soul. I listen to my spirit because I understand that we are a soul that is having a human experience. And I think that because we are so conditioned and put in these boxes when I'm talking about the church, that we miss that opportunity to really get the lesson. So I don't even know if that answered your question, but yeah.
It did. It did.
Okay. Very
It
good.
did.
Very
So,
good.
I mean, I think I'm kind of the same way, right? I grew up in church. Now, not heavy in church, like, we going this on Monday, this on Tuesday. I wasn't that, but we went to church every Sunday. But we're a religious family, but I don't want to be bound by saying that the Most High, God, Yahweh, whatever you want to call him, is only found in this type of church,
Right.
right?
Exactly.
To me, spirituality is connecting with whatever that higher power is,
Hmm.
but also connecting back to my ancestors and
Mm.
having them guide me, connecting to the universe, and
Yep.
also connecting to everybody around me,
Hmm.
right? Everybody is a part of my spiritual experience, if you will,
Yep.
right? Everything that I have, because I definitely listen to my spirit, and
Hmm.
my spirit guides, um, to help me navigate all the challenges, all the things,
Yeah.
that people call it, that little inner voice. And recently I found out some
Hmm.
people have an inner voice.
I'm sorry. What?
This one guy was like, that, because everybody, we always say that voice in your head.
Yeah.
There's a
Yeah.
guy on. Oh, look who's popping in.
Let her in the front door.
Come on in the
Hey,
door, friend. Come on in the door.
come on in the room.
Can
Hey,
I come set a
Nicole.
spell? Can I come set a
Yes, you can
spell?
come set us. Come on into the brownstone and set a spell with
Yes.
us.
Come on
I
in
was
and
just
set.
telling her how, we were talking about spirituality and how that inner voice. I listen to my spirit and my inner voice. And there's this guy on TikTok who said, "What do you mean inner voice?" Because I don't have one. Because somebody asked, when you talk to yourself, like in your head, is it your voice? Is it a different voice? He said there isn't one. You an ex murderer, sir?
You know what?
But that's when I realized some people. He said, I don't have one. You don't talk things over with yourself. Like, I have a voice in my head, and that's not like I'm having whole conversations. Hey, Leanne, and I'm like that. But I
Oh, no, I have those. Those are good
but I do
conversation.
I do have those sometimes too, because I'm a damn good conversationalist with myself.
That's right.
Right.
I
I
don't
Yeah.
can
need
solve many
nobody
a
else telling
problem.
me what I want for dinner.
Right. But I was like, that's so interesting to think that some people may not have that. It would be interesting to look at their thoughts on spirituality, their thoughts
Yeah.
on do they think there is a spiritual realm? Do they think,
Yeah.
you know, because I'm not here to judge anybody's faith, thoughts, lack thereof, whatever. I'm just here to try and spread a little joy and positivity with this beautiful face. Y'all see it?
You know what? I can't.
Y'all see it?
So, I think you brought up a really interesting point. And when we're talking about spirituality, there is a difference between that and religion. And I think that's where a lot of people get twisted, because religion is rules, as far as I'm concerned. And we grew up with so many of them, especially in the Black community. And you know how far down the rabbit hole we could go with that, right? From not being able to read the Bible to being able to read it, to understanding years later that there are many chapters of the Bible that never made it to the final print, to finding out that it was rewritten by King James, by Shakespeare, by order of King James, and that's why we have the King James version, to all of these other versions. And then all of the real and original writings are watered down. But when we're talking about spirituality, y'all stop me at any time because I can go, that. When we're talking about spirituality, one of the things that I think we all need to understand is that, as I said before, we are spirits in a body having a human experience. And when we talk about spirituality, for me, I can't speak for anyone else. I have had a near-death experience, and that is what made me walk away from the church. Because everything that I thought that I knew about the church and about religion and ministry and all of that other stuff, it went out the window when I saw what I saw on the other side. And so I would love to explain it one day because it's so in depth and so deep. So spirituality is a different thing, and we need to be clear on what it is. I will say this. One of the things that I have been taught, or what I was shown, was that, listen closely to this. I need you all to hear me. We are in the master's class. And everything that we are experiencing in this physical realm is us as spirits making a decision to be here and taking the class. We are here to pass the class, each experience. And so we come here with, I want to learn how to do this. I want to learn how to do that. Okay, we're going to put you in a situation where you're going to have to learn how to do X, Y, and Z. The experience that we are having, according to what I have been shown from Spirit, is that we are coveted by those who did not get a body. Right. So we are revered as those who made the decision to come. And so we were given the body to make the trek here in this physical realm. And so everything that we do is a decision that we made. And like I said, I could go deeper, but this your show. So you carry on.
Well, I think I see some relevance to that, right? Or some reality to that in kind of my concept of spirituality. And Nicole, you jump in because you're quiet over there. But let me just say this. I think that if you're thinking of along that plane, we made a decision to come here to learn something. I am of the belief that every single person on this planet has a purpose for being here. And being in that master's class, as you will, might be helping you learn what your purpose is. What is the unique gift that you were given, and how are you bringing that into the world? Some people go their whole life, and because they're not connected to spirit, which means you're not connected to yourself, you're not connected to your higher self and your higher power, they miss their purpose.
Yeah.
Right? They miss their purpose here. We all have unique gifts to bring into this world and to share. I think that your spirituality is one of the things that helps you that helps guide you towards what that purpose is and what you're supposed to give to the world.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So, Nicole, tell us about your concepts of spirituality and how do you practice spirituality in your life?
Hello.
First, tell us who you are, the
Yeah.
Nicole Johnson.
So I am the Nicole Johnson, founder and CEO of Girl Your Money Matters, affectionately known as the Gym, where we have all sorts of exercises to help you get financially fit. I am one of the air personalities, and I broadcast on Monday nights at 6 p.m. Central Standard Time. And during the month of March, as in honor of Women's History Month, we're broadcasting on both Mondays and Thursdays. So, whew, child, I don't have my fan over here, but I need to be
What?
fanning.
How are you without your fan?
Yes, I'm at the workstation versus the podcast station, and honey, I don't know what I was thinking, but spirituality, when you Paulette touched on how it is in the church, and growing up in our time when we were younger, we got up Sunday morning, we went to church, we went to Bible study, we went to Sunday school. Like my correction, because Bible study was on Wednesday nights. We went to Sunday school in the morning,
Right.
then we went to church, which was about 5 hours long. And Lord being Lord catch us if there was an afternoon program, and we had to have lunch or dinner in the basement of the church, and then we came back up there for the whole program that
Yes.
started at 3 or 4 and lasted to darn near tomorrow. So I understand,
Right.
and that's
Right.
what we are taught is how you have um, that spiritual connection is just
Yep.
being the repetitive. And I've joked with Leanne and Paulette. I was like,
Amen.
everybody know that's the start of devotion. Everybody know that's a He done held his breath. He didn't held that note so long. I done had time to run out to the car, come back, and he still let okay. That that's how devotion started. That's how
Woo.
devotion started in the black church. And then on today, we're
On
going to
today,
give it honor to God, who is the head of
the
our
head of my
lives.
life. Yes.
Yeah, to the pastor, to the first lady, to the usher board, to the deacon board, to the children's ministry, and every other board that's in the church, honored guests and revered friends. That's what spirituality church was growing up in our time. And I will say my grandmother, bless her heart, love her dearly. But she was a mean. Ooh, this tall and this mean. Okay, you put those two together, and
She was
every
like a little
morning, 5
Tasmanian devil.
a.m. Boom, 5 a.m. drinking her Folgers coffee and reading the Bible.
Come
And
on,
then
Folgers.
imagine
Come on,
wrapping all
Folgers.
that stuff in, and me as a child saying, if that's what spirituality, relationship, Bible reading, and coffee drinking get you, I don't want no parts of it.
Mm.
I didn't. I didn't want any parts of it. So it was when I was older, um, that I was going to church. Those things that all of that was still the same, but I was looking for something or someone, right? And I had that voice inside of me, pushing me and pulling me, causing me to question the norm because some stuff I was saying, this who who told you that? Where you get that
Yeah.
from? So I've always known that there was a God. I've never doubted that.
Right.
When I look back over my life, I can see the time and the times that He
Woo.
has intervened, He has
Hmm.
saved me,
Mm.
has redirected me, all of that. But when it comes to, I just heard somebody say, and you guys know I'm big on Pastor Michelle, who came in for one of our shows,
Mhm.
and she
Yeah.
said something that really, she directs me to scripture itself, right? Bible, the basic instructions before leaving earth. Basic. But how much more you want to know depends on how the research you do, how much research you do.
Yeah.
And she said something very particular about that. She said, ask God to give you a language that the devil can't understand.
Hmm.
And that was so intriguing to me that that became my prayer, because when we pray, the devil hears our prayers too. That's why when sin shows up in what we like, okay? But when I look at my relationship, it's not just about the spirituality point, it's relationship. So whether I go to the church, the storehouse or not, I can sit in my couch, on my couch, in my bed, in my bathroom, washing my dishes right here, and still have a relationship with him. Now, I want to follow his instruction, but it's more relational for me, where I worship through music, I worship through praise dance. Right here, I can get down, I can praise up in him. Okay, you'll never catch me doing it in the church because them folk don't. Okay, anyway, that's a whole nother show.
That's a whole different. That's
But
Yes,
not.
that's a whole
that's a
different type
whole
of show.
different
Yeah, that's
That's
a
thing.
not
whole
this
different
show.
show. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
With the formalization, I'll tell anybody, Jesus was a thug. That's how I look at him. He was a thug. And people, how you old people. Why you say
They're
that?
gonna be
Baby,
ready
when
to
he
fight
got
you.
fed up with all the formalization and the rules that people want to impose on others and not accept for themselves, he tore that whole church up.
Church up. He
West
did. Yeah.
Side, he did. West Side, he went West Side on. And that makes it more human for me to
Hmm.
understand that the spirit realm comes to the earth realm, and he walks with me, he talks with me. My tears are not in vain. So it is the relationship for me, not so much as the formal religion.
Yeah, rules and religion. Yeah, and I think
Yes,
that's
yeah.
important for people because some people can't separate spirituality from religion, right? I
Right.
tell people I'm not religious, I'm spiritual, right? I do not go to a specific church, right? I do not believe in a specific faith. Like I said, I know that God, the Most High, that's what you will most likely hear me call him or her. I don't know. But is that it's my relationship with that person, with that
Right.
spirit, but it's also my relationship to self, right? So let's go back a little bit and talk about historically, right?
Hmm.
We Black people as a whole really turn to spirituality as a means of survival and a form of resistance against systemic oppression.
Yeah.
That was our way of being able to commune, to share faith, to talk. And even if we look at the spiritual hymns that we grew up singing, Wade in the Water, Swing Low, Sweet Chariot, those weren't just
Jesus on the
hymns.
main line.
Right. But a lot of times those weren't just hymns.
No, they weren't.
Those were coded songs. So slaves
Yep.
knew how to, escape and knew where,
Communicate.
right?
Mm.
Yeah.
Like the intricate braid designs
Yeah.
and them the maps to how to go and holding food,
Mm-hmm.
right? But somewhere along the line, I feel like spirituality took a turn. And it might be for the better, might be for the worse. I don't know. I'm not here to judge, right?
Mm-hmm.
But while it's still an important aspect, I think a lot of times people mistake spirituality for religion. And if you're not religious, then you're not doing it right. Right? For
Yeah.
you know
I
what
get
I
what
mean?
you're saying. Yeah. So like what you're saying, like I've heard that. So one of the things that really turned me off from the church was all of the pomp and circumstance. Yes. And like Nicole was talking about, giving honor to God, who's the head of my life, to the pastor, to the first lady, to the mother board, the deacon board, to all of the
And the earth Lord.
formalities. Yes, all of the formalities. We might as well have a cup of tea with that. Yes. So when we're talking about the formalities. I could have not dealt with the formalities. One of the other things that I did not like, this actually happened to me once. I was asked to sing at a friend's funeral, and the only microphone in the whole freaking place was in the pulpit. And so I got in the pulpit and I sung the song. And when I tell you that pastor grabbed my arm, I had to yank, and I was, a matter of fact, I was pregnant with Leah at the time. He yanked my arm and I yanked it back. And he was like, "You ain't supposed to be up here." And I said, "Well, get me another mic then." I'll never ever forget that. And so the formalities was a little too much for me. How dare you with your arrogant ass, be concerned about where I deliver my voice and my gift to the community and to this family who is hurting. And you take the time with your arrogant tail to come up in here and say something like that. And I know that the people heard it because the mic was hot. You know what I mean? So
Right.
okay, so now we're talking about formalities. I don't need no formalities because I have a relationship with spirit myself.
That's
You know what
right.
I mean? Like we were saying earlier. So I got tired of that. I got tired of deaconess and deacons, and I got tired of the motherboard and the usher board. I got tired of all of the things. Now let me be clear. I know that that is the basis of where I come from. But just like you, Nicole, I knew that there was something more. Like those voices that you hear in your head and stuff like that, they was talking to me. They was telling me stuff. And I thought, well, wait
Mhm.
a minute. If so, even when I was a kid, it was like, okay, something else is out there. I would hear people call my name and what nobody in the damn room would be. And I thought, okay. And that still happens to this day. So what I have learned to do is I understand that I have spirit guides. What I have learned to do is to sit still in the stillness of stillness and hear what my next steps are going to be. And so what I have respect for are for those people who are still on that level of I got to go to church so I can connect. We
Mm.
are the church, right? Not the building. We are the church. We are to go out and to connect, like you were saying. And one thing that I have learned, you also hear this in the Bible, where two or more are gathered, he is in the midst. Well, okay, that's great. But you also should know this that the power of collective consciousness will never be denied when we are talking about metaphysics and we're talking about the vibration of who we are as a people, when we're on the exact same vibrational frequency, we have a tendency to see things happen faster
That's
in
right.
our lives. And that's where prayer comes in. That's where connecting together. That's how Joshua tore down the walls of Jericho. 7 times they walked that building and they began to pray and to shout. It was the vibration of the collective consciousness that did so. And even though it may have been a metaphoric story or not, we will never know. The thing is that the same holds true for each one of us when we're talking about our connection to each other and having a human experience in this physical body. You know what I mean? And so when we are having these classes that we're in, we have to make a decision on whether or not we're going to pass the class. And I ain't talking about college. I'm not talking about high school. I'm talking about the school of life where you get the greatest degree that it is. And like I said, when I had my NDE and I was on the other side and it was shown to me that we are revered as the highest of the spirits because we made a decision to come here and have this human experience. And so I will say that every single day, the older that I get, I make it a decision every night before I go to bed to have that conversation. Show me what the next steps are for tomorrow. What do I need to do? And I listen. I listen ever so slightly, not so much to the words, but to the signs. Because sometimes that is one way for you to get to the next level and the next phase of what your experience is. So you can do what? Pass the class.
I agree wholeheartedly. I think also what you have to, I do attend church when I go. I got a church home. It is where I pay my tithe. I do sometimes split my tithes between the church and then another church organization. My choice, right? But you have people who are at the crux in their life where they are so lost. They've been hurt, whether it's church, whether it's family, whether it's life, whatever it is. and they're looking. And
Mm-hmm.
so I agree that, everyone has the choice whether or not they attend church. But some people need to, but they need to attend the right church. You
Yeah.
have to attend under the right pastor, the right leader. That's the same way we do in our business. That's the same way we do in our families. You can't listen to every old Uncle Tom, Uncle Dick, Uncle Harry,
You
because
sure can.
two-thirds of them ain't rap too tight.
Nope.
Okay, so you have to live. You have to be in the right place. So that means you have to maybe attend different churches to see how the
Mm-hmm.
messages relate to you, to see where your connection is. Because if you can connect to see, I can't do the hoop and hollering. I can't. I don't understand. I can't spell it. I can't look it up.
Yeah.
What does that mean? Sound like you choking. But when you can open up the Bible, and I can open up the Bible, and then you can say the book of chapter this, and then we can read it together, and then you can teach me, then that's what matters to me. And
Yeah.
then in small groups, we form relationships. And then there are people who are powerful prayers who will pray over you and your situation. Those are the type of people that's a place where I can call my church home.
Right.
Okay.
Yeah, I agree.
But
Yeah.
sitting out there thinking that God doesn't exist, because he does. There's no explanation for everything that happens in this world without believing that there is a higher power. Now you can call
Mm-hmm.
him higher power, you can call him whatever. I don't look at okay. We're not even gonna name other places, but if he was buried and still there, that's not for me to follow. I'm following the one that was buried and rose. He descended, he ascended. That's what I believe. And what I think the biggest gift of community is for me to look at Paulette, for me to look at Leanne and be able to say that the way they treat me, the way they teach me, the way they hold me up, those are revelations of angels that he's put in my life as a consistent reminder that he exists, because we can't walk this earth alone.
No.
The people who are the ones that are you should do this, you should do this. The Bible says do this, baby. If you don't get
Yeah.
up, if you don't back up off of me, the Bible do say lay hands, but just me and Jesus lay hands differently. So I'm
Yeah.
just you fall back now, fall back now. You can't beat me over the head and think I'm just saying.
Oh my
We
God.
lay hands differently,
You come
so
get your
it's a
friend.
matter.
She your friend today. She's with you right now when she doing that stuff.
Oh my
Okay,
God.
because until he tore up the temple, Jesus was looked at as very meek. When
Yeah.
he tore that temple up, he shocked a whole bunch of folks. That's the part of me, that's the part of him that's in me a little bit more than the meekness. Okay, I
Right.
didn't pick up the meek part of him, I picked up the thug part of him. So
Mm-hmm.
when I have people in my circle that, because behind closed doors, these ladies get on me, but it's all in love. So that is a reminder that he put angels on my path, because
Yeah.
I'm not fully where I need to be, but
That
I am
part.
where I used to be.
That part. Come
So
on, say that.
it goes
Mm-hmm.
back to
Absolutely.
relation.
Mhm.
It goes back to relation, it goes back to connection, and it goes back to love, because that is the ultimate command that he gives. Love ye one another. And I don't even like ye, but he says love one another. That's it. Live in love and treat people the way Christ treated the church.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
If you
Right.
So
don't know what that
let me
means, do the research for yourself.
right.
Yep.
So let me step in here now. So one of the things I want to do for, and I think that's a good segue to my next kind of point here, is now let me first say, do my station identification. You are watching or listening to Wake Up Happy Sis on KCCR The Brownstone, where we are changing the narrative for our Black and Brown people by telling our stories our way. Okay? And we get real, we get raw, we get honest and unfiltered up here on this show.
Yeah.
Okay? So, one thing that I don't want to get is spirituality equals religion. Now, everybody experiences spirituality different,
Yeah.
right? I do believe in a higher power. I do not go to church, right? I can go to church if I want to, but you're probably not going to find me there, right? But for those of you who are looking for that spiritual connection, you
Yeah.
feel lost, you feel disconnected to self, disconnected to spirit. Here are 5 tips that can help you start that journey, help you get on the road for yourself.
Let me
Okay,
get my pen ready.
get your pen, friend. Okay, the first step is to set your intentions.
Hmm.
Okay, so the first step in that journey is be clear about your intentions. Take some time and reflect on what you really hope to gain from your spiritual practice. Are you trying to find peace, inner peace? Are you trying to improve your mental health because you feel so beat down by the world and you've had so many traumatic experiences? You need a way to cope. Are you looking to connect with a higher power, a higher version of yourself, the ancestors, the spirits, Jesus and God, right? Write them down and keep these things in mind. The second step is to practice mindfulness. If you're not aware of what mindfulness is the practice of being present in the moment and experiencing that moment without judgment of that moment. So, feeling your feelings, let's say, as they happen, that's practicing mindfulness. Being fully engaged. Have you ever been driving somewhere and you don't know how you got home?
All the time. I get scared when I park. I be like, what?
We've all had that
Yeah.
because
First
that's
thing out my mouth is thank you, Lord, for taking the wheel.
right. But that's us not being mindful, not being present and aware to what's going on because we have so many other things in our mind, in our heart, that's blocking us, right? I ain't gonna say that could have been you, we ain't gonna get into that other options. But the third is seek guidance.
Hmm.
It might be a spiritual teacher, a mentor, a community of like minded people that can help you kind of navigate what's in your mind. We have to stop being afraid to ask for help,
Yeah.
right? We have to stop being afraid. We don't have to be the strong Black woman all the time. We don't have to have all the answers. We don't. There's no way you can have all the
Hmm.
answers. When you need help, ask for it. So seek that guidance. Connect with nature. I'm such a big person that believes in grounding, in connecting
Yes.
with nature to help you feel connected to something that is greater than yourself. Get
Hmm.
out there and play in the dirt. Go to the beach. For me, my grounding happens in best with sand and water around me, somewhere near water,
Hmm.
right? Dig my feet into the sand, feel that connection to the earth, to the elements, and realize if you've ever been in the ocean and you're just looking at the expansiveness of it and realizing you're just one small piece of such a big existence. And then you realize our universe may be a pebble on another universe,
Yeah.
right? So connect with nature, take a walk in the park, right? And reflect, but be mindful. You see how these things are stacking and connecting with each other? As we're in nature, being mindful of what we're there. How does our body feel,
Yeah.
right? How do we feel mentally? What emotions are we having? And
Hmm.
then cultivate gratitude. An
Hmm.
attitude of gratitude is a beautiful and necessary thing, right?
Yeah.
It's a powerful spiritual practice because it helps you focus on the positive things in your lives and
Hmm.
appreciate the abundance around us. And it helps connect us to everyone else. So, those are just 5 little tips to really help you as you start or even expand your spiritual journey. Don't be afraid to try something new, to try something outside of the norm. You can be a fire and brimstone church attender and
Oh,
you can still try to practice something else and
yeah.
look at something else. There's never going to be a time that God's going to say you wrong for that, unless
So
you're out there, unless you out there worshiping other idols and you're a Christian. That's not, you can't do that. But
so let me stop and ask you a question, and I would love to intercede and not so much play devil's advocate, but I definitely want to bring this up. So I have um a person in particular who has been in my life for some time, and they are past religious. They are zealots. And it is disgusting to say the
mhm,
least. So I here's where people get lost when we're talking about spirituality and all of that, because they think that they're the same as religion. Um, and we have to be careful, because a lot of times what happens is people have a tendency to say what they think, and it ain't what has been said by God, spirit, universe, none of that, right? Because what I have learned in my walk is that God is love, spirit is love, spirituality, the universe, it's all, we're all connected. And so we have to get to the point where we are not putting God in this box of he's gonna kill you, he gonna knock you out, he gonna hurt you, he gonna shoot you down if you don't do X, Y, and Z, and if you don't walk this straight and narrow path. That's when I call you crazy. Okay. Now I'm just call it what a TI is. And it angers me when people who are of that mindset constantly try to shove that down your throat, and it's almost like I don't want to be around you. Like, get out my face with all that. And I'm gonna just put it on the table. It is aggravating. It should not feel like I am fighting for my life, like I can't live
mhm.
my life and make mistakes. Because again, that is why I am here, is to have a human experience. And when somebody is constantly browbeating you about let's have this and let's do this and you can't do this, that, and the third. Well, how the hell am I supposed to learn?
Mhm.
Right? That's where I think a lot of people lose out on the opportunity to live the best, most amazing, most prosperous and beautiful, exciting life, because somebody told them, get in this box so you can be safe, so you can go to heaven.
And can I just say, you can, religious zealots, this is only my opinion, right? When you are a religious fanatic, telling, and that means you're overboard and you have to do this and you have to do that, and you're a bad person if you did this, if you experienced this, blah, blah, blah. Like the whole concept of being lesbian or gay in the LGBTQ and that whole part of religion,
Yeah.
right? That doesn't guarantee you a space in the kingdom when you pass. Because the Bible also says, judge not, lest ye be judged,
Right.
right? We are here to have experiences. We are going to make mistakes.
Absolutely.
Life is about learning, it's about figuring out who you are.
Yes.
And there's nothing wrong with who you are unless you're a child molester or a rapist or a murderer, things of that nature, where you are harming people
Yeah.
or even harming yourself,
Yep.
right? But when you're going through life and you're learning what you like, what you don't like, and learning who you are, your spirituality plays a big part in that. But do not mistake religion and the religious stronghold that sometimes happens
Yeah.
as the end all be all, as this is the only way that life happens,
Yes. Yeah.
right?
That
If
part.
it's not this, it's wrong.
Right.
Life is about experience. God is around us everywhere. He's not just in a church building, He is in us.
Right. He
His
is.
spirit is always in you, it's always with you, right? We're calling on ancestors. Spirituality is not just church, it's not just religion, it's meditation. It's like you said, Paulette, sitting in those quiet spaces and listening to what spirit is telling you.
Yes. Yes.
Because that's the biggest part of spirituality to
Yeah.
me, is learning how to be quiet and to sit in those spaces and really hear what spirit is telling you.
Yep.
Because if you listen and you learn how to listen in that quietness and see the signs around you, you will get direction.
Yeah.
You will get, you'll start to learn and listen and trust that inner voice, assuming you have one, because I still find that weird. That man said he didn't have one.
Yeah, assuming that you, or even recognize what it is that you're hearing. He may think that it's his thoughts, or you know what I mean. And so I think
Mhm.
every last one of us has a way of communicating and connecting with our own higher selves, and like you said, with our ancestors and with our spirit guides. Um, I would not, and I'm sure that there are some people that's listening to y'all crazy, you all crazy. Okay, go ahead, find out for yourself. Because again, and here's something else too. You will only experience what you believe. Let me be clear. Let me say that again. You will only experience what you believe. So what we're talking about, if you don't believe it, guess what? You'll never experience
Mhm.
this. But once you are introduced to it, please understand it's going to show up. Now, whether or not you accept the assignment, that is completely on you. But please also remember that, again, like I said in the beginning of this conversation, that when I had my near-death experience, it was shown to me that we come here by choice. We make a decision. Well, how is that so? When so many bad things happen, XYZ, that is called, are you ready? The contrast.
Mhm.
How can you paint if you don't have the contrast? You cannot build out beautiful colors and shadows and so many things with the life that you are creating on this physical realm without the contrast. And once I learned that, it was easier for me to accept some of the things that were happening. So it's not like a game that you play with yourself. When I sat back and I looked at it, I thought, so if this is a contrast of a construct, I need that to make some sense to some people. If it is a contrast of a construct, who constructed it for your experience? Ask yourself that. And so when you are understanding that you are having a human experience that you constructed, then guess what else you can do? You can reconstruct.
And let me add on to that, right? Because I think people will misunderstand what you're saying, right? Because somebody's going to say, well, I was raped, I didn't construct that, right? There are, on during our experience, this experience of life, this experience of this existence, right? You cannot have good without bad. We do not live in a utopian experience, a utopian existence that does not exist, right? If you believe in the vision of God versus the devil was an angel.
Yeah,
He was the most beautiful angel.
yeah,
That's why most sin and the things that are wrapped in real beautiful packaging, right? And while this existence, originally the construct came from us, the experiences that happen in it are experiences. Now, I can't say why bad things happen to people. I can't. That is not my place to understand, and I never will, right? But just the same token, why do beautiful things happen to some people?
absolutely.
Right? I think we get so focused on the negative and the bad experiences. And I'm a believer in manifestation, and what you focus on is what you attract, is what you
That's right.
experience.
That's right.
So if your life is full of negative, that's why I'm such a big promoter of healing from that past trauma. Because when you don't, you continue. Have you ever met the same boyfriend with a different face and you
Mm,
wonder why? this cheater keeps showing up in your life,
Mm.
your
Well, well.
spirit has been trying to teach you a lesson about yourself, because
Yeah,
spirituality is also very much connected to self-discovery.
it is.
Who am I? What
Mm.
do I like? What do I accept and not accept? And there's something that you haven't healed from, something that you haven't learned and put into place about your own self-worth, which is why Lester, Harry, whatever his name is, because he
Mm-hmm.
gonna have 1,000 different faces,
Yep.
keep showing up
Showing up. That's right.
until
Yep.
we learn the lesson, like you said, Paulette, and graduate out of that class.
You're going to stay there.
You're going to stay there and you're going to keep experiencing it over and over and over.
Yep. You'll just have a different teacher.
That's it.
That's
That's like you didn't make it past fifth grade. You got to do it over.
Yep. And
Right.
so I think to add on to that, because now we're talking about now this is getting touchy. So I think one of the things that I would like to present um, to this is also understanding that once you recognize that you are repeating the same thing again, because see, that's also a part of your lesson. Once you recognize that you are repeating the same thing again, you have to stop. Because see, I'm dealing with this right now. I'm gonna put my business out there. Okay. So we have to stop when we are having these experiences and we have to say, how is it that I keep ending up here and then a block happens? Like I literally can feel myself getting to that point where I stop. Now, I can do one of two things at this point in this experience that I'm having, right? I can go back to the drawing board
Mm-hmm.
and get another teacher who's going to try to show me the same damn thing, or I can make a decision to reconstruct the construct and say to myself, which portion, this is going to be deep for some of y'all, which reality do I desire? What do I see myself doing? And what is the least resisted way that I am going to get there? Because if we are not careful, when we are not choosing the next phase of our lives, one will be chosen for us, and it will be based upon our vibration that we're getting off, we're sending off. So if you're sending off a negative vibration, oh my God, things aren't going to get better, things are this and that, then da 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 da. Guess what's going to get happen? You're going to get more of the same. And I think a lot of people don't understand that. So getting back to what I was saying, so when we decide to look at where we currently are, one of the biggest things, the struggle that I'm having right now is in terms of the business, and it's not a negative thing. It is okay. I see the next phase. How do I keep getting stuck right here in here? It's here, right? How do you make it to the next level? So where I am from a spiritual perspective, so that it can show up and manifest itself, is I'm having these conversations with myself and with the ancestors and with spirit guides and so forth. And I'm saying, show me the next level. Where do I desire to be? Here is where I desire to be. Now, y'all come on in here and show me the least restrictive way that it can happen.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not gonna fight. We shouldn't have to fight. You should always be going downstream. That way it what flows.
It flows, baby.
You're trying to do this, it doesn't flow. Let it go. Get your hands off of it. Be grateful in the experience that you're currently in and continue to move downstream. And you'll arrive at the destination that you thought was going to take forever to get to.
Amen. Now that's a good segue to my next. Y'all just be on it. So the reason those blockages come is some form of fear or resistance that you run up against. It's a fear of the unknown sometimes, fear of rejection, fear of success, can't
Mm,
handle it, right? It's a fear put by somebody else that says you're not good enough.
mm.
What makes your black ass think that you could be,
Yeah,
that you
yeah,
can have?
yeah.
You ain't smart.
Mm.
One telling you saying ain't, but whatever.
Yeah, right. I get it. Yeah.
Right? So we're gonna give you, because if y'all don't know me, I like to give tips. I'm about being resolution based. So, I got a few tips here, practical techniques to help you overcome fear and resistance. First, we got to sit and be still and identify that root cause. It's usually stemming from some limiting belief or that past trauma that's giving you that limiting belief. Okay. So, really reflect on when you get to that blocker, you feeling that fear. Why am I feeling this?
Yeah.
Get yourself a journal and reflect and write about it, right? And then Paulette hit on a really good point. Reframe your perspective. When she said reconstruct that construct, that original construct, it's reframing your perspective. Are you always talking negative? Do you have a very pessimistic outlook?
Mm.
Right?
Yep, you're right.
Tell yourself, instead of saying, I can't do this, write on your mirror, and every day, every time you go past it, I am capable of overcoming this challenge and achieving great success. Affirmations are power. Your words are power. So we have to start reframing our perspective from that negative into a positive, into an abundance mindset instead of a
Yep.
lack mindset.
Yep.
And then take small steps. Life is about taking those steps. Like she said, you're going to get downstream, but you're going to take it one step at a time.
That's
Stop
right.
trying to jump 5 steps ahead.
Come on.
Look at the next step instead of looking at the end of the river and it doesn't look so daunting. And then practice self compassion. Give yourself some grace when you make a mistake. It's not the end of the world. You're going to make many more mistakes. If you don't have the bad, how can you honestly appreciate the greatness that is awaiting you?
Mm.
You
Mm.
don't have a frame of reference. You don't have that what? Contrast,
Yep. That
right?
contrast.
And finally, visualize your success. Like Paulette said, what do I want to come out of the end? How do I want to be? How do I want to feel? What is it going to look like? What does
Mhm.
success in this experience, this challenge look like for me?
Yep.
Right? Make sure that you're doing this and you're being consistent because consistency is key. That repetitive nature, that practice, just try it for 30 days. Every time you have a negative thought, reframe it. Identify the root cause, reframe your perspective, take the small steps, practice self compassion, and visualize success. Try for 30 days and see where you start. Journal where you're starting and how you're feeling, and journal at 30 days.
Mm-hmm.
I promise you, you're going to feel different. Your outlook will be different. It takes 21 days to make a habit.
Right.
That's why you have to be consistent and mindful every time you see your brain shifting. Okay, let me feel this. Now, boop, let's get back to reframing it in a positive way.
Yep.
You know, it is already 10:59, Paulette.
It's crazy because I could. This is a topic I'm very very passionate about. Um, it's just I think that it's a beautiful place for us to talk about and really definitely expand. Leanne, are you going to have this available on Brownstone Worldwide? These tips?
Yes, you
Okay.
will get both sets of tips
Okay.
on Brownstone Worldwide. So again, make sure that you are going to Brownstone Worldwide, that you sign up for the newsletter because Paulette sends out regular newsletters,
Mm-hmm.
right?
Yep.
Make sure that if you want to connect with me and talk to me, you can connect me on any social media platform at Dulce and Lay. Okay? Make sure you're going to come up, you're going to check me out. Are there any final words you would like to say, Paulette, as we head on out?
Um, this was good. I needed this today. Um, especially as I've learned of I lost my sister yesterday. For
Mm.
those who are not aware, um, and I have been processing the first of all the pain, the selfishness of wanting her to stay here, but also having to understand that we are creative in how we exit this physical plane and what that leaves for those of us who are behind. What is the lesson? And so I'm still processing. So this was good for me because I have to be reminded that we choose when we go and when we stay. And we choose because I chose to come back because I wanted to make sure that my babies were raised. And so I want to thank you because this was really good. This was really, I don't have any other final words except check us out for the rest of the day on brownstoneworldwide.com. And then also get ready because Brownstone Living Magazine is coming up and some other stuff. So there you go.
All right. Well, thank y'all for coming and sharing my little bitty space in the brownstone. I am the top unit. Okay.
She's over the top.
I'm on the top flow. I'm on the top flow in the brownstone. But thank you guys for coming and sharing a little bit of space with me. Today, we also have a special segment with Nicole Johnson. That's going to be a 2-hour segment today, talking about the ugly side of entrepreneurship. We also have Marshawn Alania, and she's right after Nicole. We've got the lunch special, lunch mix.
The high lunch mix.
There you go, high lunch mix. We got some things for you, okay? So
Yeah.
make sure that you keep it locked. You can download the KCCR radio app in your app store so you can always listen to all the shows. And I'll be back tomorrow. This replays throughout the week. So if you missed it, you didn't really miss it.
Absolutely.
Just go on over to brownstoneworldwide.com/BWTV
Mm-hmm.
and you can watch
Yep.
all of the past episodes of our shows.
Yep.
So with that, I want to thank y'all for coming, sharing a little bit of space. Make sure that you connect with me on Dulce and Life. Follow me on all social media platforms, and you'll be able to get on our mailing list and all of that, so you can get all these great tips and more.
All right.
Bye.
Bye.